you think people are afraid?
Are people afraid?
Yeah.
People are afraid in so many different ways, but also trying to figure out how to be normal for their kids. Going into neighborhoods that were, you would smell the cookouts and you would see the kids playing in the parking lots and in the parks and on the swings. And now you go in, it's a ghost town, and it'll break your heart because it is so quiet.
It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. He was getting his coffee before treatment, and ICE was patrolling the area. It is one of my biggest fears, is that if he was to get detained, what would happen?
Do you feel like you're an American?
Yes, I do feel. I don't want to go over there. What am I going to do? I've been here all my life. Everything that I know is over here. Everything that I have achieved is over here. My wife, been what, like 28 years now. And that's something that you're not going to take it away just like that. And I know where I was born, country. I love my country, but this is my number one country. So this is my country. I cry every single day, especially when I have my kids. What they're gonna do without me.
And I just remember that because my mom had us write like all of our kids and like all of the church, they were like asking for help, like financial, but also we wrote letters and I wrote how much I love my dad, and they had to give that to the judge.
They shatter in pieces your hope, and all your goals. Just to think it every day it was a struggle, thinking that you're going back over there. Once, for myself, my experience, once they released me that day, that was I think I went back to life. Yes. And I promised to myself, hey, we'll never ever do that.
Went to the first No Kings protest. I printed out 150 pamphlets, essentially, of information online on Know Your Rights, telling people that being undocumented is not a criminal offense, it's a civil offense, kind of just trying to educate people. I essentially paid a post about, hey, if you want to get information about knowing your rights, message me, we'll meet up. Those first 6 months really pushed just educating people, getting the word out, getting people to understand that, things are going to get worse. And a lot of people kept telling me, like you're kind of just fear-mongering, things aren't going to be that way, until I believe it was June when a young mother had been detained here in Harrisonburg, and the video had gone viral due to how violent they were with her. People then started messaging me like, what else can we do, because it's getting worse.
How human rights can be taken away from people is a very gradual process until all of a sudden it happens. And then you're just like, where did this go? None of the movements that you see happening, whether it was Black Lives Matter, whether it was everything happening in Minneapolis or Charlotte or Chicago, or even here in Harrisonburg, all of these spaces where you see people coming together is because it was built over years of working together and trusting each other.
I have gone to multiple events to kind of bring awareness to ICE about here in the area, and every single time I'm in Stanton, people are shocked at the numbers of how many people have been detained. And it's one of those things where it's frustrating how often they try to dehumanize us until it's someone that they actually know.
Do you know people who have been deported?
Yes, I know.
Is that hard for you to see?
Yes. And some people didn't deserve it. Some people, I think they have Not just them, it's the people who left behind, you know, kids, families.
I have seen the immigration system work in a way that is insensitive, not compassionate, and sometimes brutal to families who have been living here in our communities for many, many years. I don't have easy answers to that. It's complex and it's difficult, the issues. But if we can't treat one another with respect and with some sense of humanity and dignity, then we lose our sense of justice, we lose our way, and we end up traumatizing people.
Don't be afraid to be that voice, because I know me personally, being that voice, I have had other people be inspired because of that, and now there are other people doing smaller groups similar.
I interviewed a young woman who has 2 kids. She's originally from a country in Central America, and she and her husband and their first child fled very severe gang violence. He was eventually the target of an arson attack that left him with very severe burns on a lot of his body. So they headed north and settled in Stanton. They were on the radar of ICE. They had been encountered by Border Patrol when they crossed. And so they didn't have legal status. The husband, Ullman, went to one of his voluntary check-ins with ICE last June, and they detained him about a month ago. He finally got released. As I was interviewing the wife for the first time, she was just really distraught, recounting what they had been through. And I think she felt a sense of safety when they finally got here and felt like, oh, okay, we can finally breathe now. And then her husband gets taken and she doesn't know how to get him back.
I have been, for the last 3 or 4 years, been teaching online art classes to students who live in Iran. We were teaching them some art classes and they asked if we could teach them a unit on designing a mural. Then I got the idea, well, what if our students design a mural and then I could find a wall here in Harrisonburg and I could get some artists together and we could paint it for them. We were deciding what is the theme of this mural going to be, and they chose unity and diversity, the Baha'i belief in the oneness of humanity, that we are all part of the same universal human family. Wherever we live in the world, we should be welcome. I hope, and the students hope, that this mural will be very welcoming. No matter what their background, anybody walking down the street will look up and see a face that looks like theirs. These students who are denied their human rights, to give them a chance to come up with a design and then have it become a reality. We're giving a voice to the voiceless.
A lot of times when you talk about peace, you might think about not having violence. And the way that we live into the peace building aspect is actively seeking out peace. So not just kind of stepping back and trying not to put up a fight to it, but we actually are fighting back, but through peaceful means and nonviolent direct action.
The mission is to engage immigrants and connect cultures and build community. You know, we can't necessarily share a meal with people, but we can support them in navigating the everyday resources that they need and their long-term legal processes as well.
My dad always tells me that it's like he got here and it was like genuinely like a whole new world.
I'm from Honduras. I came over here in 1998. I came when I was 19 years old. Came with my sister over there in New York. From New York, I'll stay over there for 1 year. After that, my mom, she decided to move down here in Virginia, in Harrisonburg.
He was like, and I know that it was just how I was because I was like 19 and I was like, oh, like the world is my oyster, but his world was Harrisonburg. He liked Harrisonburg because of how it felt like home, because there's a lot of Hondurans, but there's a lot of Latinos.
The American dream that you might have had back then, do you think you are living your American dream? Like, is this what you hoped for when moving to this country?
No.
Essentially, like, the American dream is dead, and it's been dead for a while. America seems to believe that it's like the best place in the world, but it's been shown over the last couple years that it's not, and that a lot of what people hear about the Americas is what gets them to come here, and then they see it's not really what it is.
I have very mixed feelings about what the American dream is, and I don't think that there's really an American dream. I think that there are, interestingly enough, a lot of people that come from other countries who have this sense of the American dream, which is freedom and economic advancement, and safety for their children.
Do you think your dad is living his American dream?
I'm gonna say yes. We recently got a house, and we don't own it, we do rent it out, but it's a house and we've never had a house before. We've only lived in trailers. I was living in Grottoes like 30 minutes away, and it was a 2-bedroom trailer, and there was 8 of us in that house. We have a dog, we have a fence, we've had chickens, we have our turkey, we have a huge shed. My dad has 2 motorcycles. We all each have our car, but it's just the fact that like we have that when this was just like the bare minimum, and now that we have that when we didn't even think we could have anything back then, I think that he would say that he achieved the dream. In the future, like if I have kids and I feel like I want to settle down, I feel like I could come back to Harrisonburg and I could raise my kids here. I feel like I would get a house like right here, like by South Main, and I'd go to I'd have my kids walk to Waterman Elementary because there's houses surrounding it. I feel like my future family could grow up here and I'd be safe, like knowing that.
So Harrisonburg has not only in many different levels worked to continue to be a welcoming and loving place that values immigrants in our presence.
I feel like one of the more important things is to emphasize that, again, the individual can do a lot, even if it is just researching stuff and trying to essentially like deprogram yourself of like the American propaganda. A lot of people have started doing that, but still are afraid to ask questions. So it would be better to, you know, be that person to ask questions, learn where you can get information to then be able to help others. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to be that voice, because I know me personally, being that voice, I have had other people be inspired because of that. And now there are other people doing smaller groups similar.
People are upset and frustrated, but also people show up very quickly. And it is amazing to see how many people want to help and just don't know how. Take what you already know. If your talent is journalism, then share stories and find an ethical way to share people's stories, because not everyone can do that in a way that is not putting someone at risk. If you are really talented at art, there's so many ways of sharing your talent with people that I think is really important to bring forth in any space.